Pop art began during the 1950s through the late 70s, taking common objects and people of everyday life and turning them into fine art. They used ideas from advertising, comic books, and mostly used the bright primary colors of red, yellow, and blue. One such artist was Roy Lichtenstein. He was born in New York on October 23, 1923, and died September 29, 1997. Today you will draw a pop art word like one of these. I'm using markers, however, you can use whatever color tool you have, like crayons or colored pencils. Supplies you will need are a blank piece of paper, a pencil, an eraser, a black marker, the primary colors of red, yellow, and blue. Now, as we draw our pop art, you can look kind of here at this page to kind of give you some ideas of something you might want to draw. And you can see how the letters are a little bit thicker and a lot of them overlap. And I'm going to kind of teach you a couple tricks of how to do that, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is take our paper and we're going to pick our word, and I'm going to pick pop for pop art. And I'm going to just kind of make it here, kind of here in the center. And I'm going to draw my word. And I'm going to draw it a little lightly at first. And I'm going to leave a little bit of space, but not too much. And you can see, here's my word, not too thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around the outside of my P here, and then down and around. And you can see that I have now inside here, and now I've made that bigger. And then what we can do is we can go through and we can erase that first line that we've done, and we now have our bubble letter. And then to get to our O, we want to make this one a little bit bigger, and maybe we'll want it to be a little bit behind our P. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here so that it goes underneath my P, draw it around like that. There is my P. And if I say want to change this, I can kind of do that since I'm just doing an O, and I can draw my center of my O. And then here, I'm going to do that same thing again, but maybe I want this P to be behind the O. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to stop when I get to my O. And I'm going to pretend like it goes right behind there, come up here, and go around, back down and over, and then draw my center, and then erase our kind of guideline that we had there. So now you can see I've got the word pop. What I want to do is maybe draw kind of a burst behind it. So I'm just going to kind of draw some triangles, just going around, going all the way around the word. Get back to the beginning. And then maybe I want to draw kind of a bit of a cloud around it to soften the edge a little bit. So I can just maybe draw some U shapes that all go around here and connect. So now that we've kind of got this started, what we can do is we can go over it, outline it with our black. You can either use a black marker, a black crayon, and you can just kind of go over your lines to give it that comic book look. Now, I would suggest that you let your marker dry for a little bit, and then you can go through, and any areas that you maybe didn't go over perfectly, you can kind of erase those again so that they're not quite as obvious, those guidelines. But like I said, kind of make sure that your marker has dried a little bit, and then give your paper a good erasing to get rid of any extra lines that you might not want. Make sure you brush away all of your eraser bits that are left over. And then this is where you can start to have some fun, and you can pick your colors that you want. I am going to do my pop in red. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to color in my red. And remember, you can use whichever color you have. And you might want to be a little bit careful around your black lines, as sometimes that black can pull out the color. If you have a Sharpie available, and you can also use that because that doesn't transfer color as much. Now I'm going to use my second primary color of yellow, Okay, now I'm going to color in this burst in yellow. Like I said, be careful next to your lines, especially with the yellow, since it's a light color. So I'm just going to color right next to that black. And one thing you can do is if you are coloring over an area and you don't want the marker to get all over your hand, you can put a piece of scrap paper down, and so that way you're resting your hand on the clean piece of paper as you color. And you can always turn your work as well. And then now that I've got used my two primary colors of red and yellow, I'm going to add some blue in, and I'm going to do that in the form of dots because that's another popular thing that was done. And so I'm going to add dots, and to do that, all I'm going to do is just push down gently on my marker. And I'm just going to fill this cloud in around in dots, kind of evenly spaced. So now you can stop here, or if you want, you can add, say, more dots on the outside. You could add some, just even some, say, starburst lines coming off. And there you go. There is your pop art word. So think of what fun word you would like to do and what action you would like to bring to it, and have fun creating your own.